Hello, and welcome to episode 252 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
I'm James.
and today we are gonna start walking through individual cards from individual colors from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I was like, it's not Journey to the Center of Ixalan.
I mean, it might as well be, right?
Might as well be, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the last couple weeks we talked about the mechanics. So if you're interested in that, I think that was 2 weeks ago. We did our mechanics episode. And then last week was our limited breakdown where we talked about what all the different limited archetypes were. So check that episode out if you haven't heard that one. And this week we're going to start getting into some constructed stuff. So we're going to talk about, I don't know, we got a pretty good list of cards here. Brian picked some, I picked some, and we're going to go through and give you our thoughts.
Yeah, so if you got any cards you think we should talk about, or just want to say hey, reach out to us on like social media, Facebook, Discord, the artist formerly known as Twitter, even email. Yep. If you are, above 30. We're active there. Discord, we talk, people get talking, especially when new sets come out.
Yeah.
So come by, say hey. All those links are in the description.
Yeah. Stop in, let us know what you think. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Follow that link on over to TCG player. Doesn't matter what you buy, as long as you use that link to get there. We will get a percentage of your final purchase price to help keep the lights on over here at Studio CTH. If you want to support us more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Patrons get access to our show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what the show is going to be about, as well as some of our inner thoughts that are kind of scrawled in the margins almost. Patrons also get access to our pre-show, about another hour's worth of content out of us every week, completely unscripted, unedited. We don't even know what we're going to be talking about during pre-show. It's kind of just a chance for us to catch up and make sure our equipment's working. But we record it for you guys. Our patrons really seem to like it. So if you like that, or you want access to those show notes, or you want to be put on my mailing list for when I have stuff to send out, or if you just want to support the show, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Chip in as much as you want, $1, $2, $5, whatever you think, and we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we got cards.
We got
them cards. So we're gonna start with weight.
Yep.
We still have not looked at a pronunciation guide.
Oh yeah. Names are gonna be challenging.
Yeah. Abuelos. Yeah, uncle.
I think it's Abuelo, because that's we got that restaurant here, right? Abuelos.
Yeah, isn't that like grandpa or something?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know.
That's French.
I took Spanish in a West Virginia high school, so
so it was only barely English.
He's barely English. So Abuelo's Awakening is a sorcery for X3 and a white. There we go. X3 and a white, and return target artifact or non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. It is a 1/1 spirit with flying in addition to its other types.
That's a weird
card. It's baseline refurbish, but you refurbish your thing back as something super fragile.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I was thinking, right, you could use this for, let's say, a Portal to Phyrexia, right? Like, as like a one-sided wrath. And if they kill it, it's not the end of the world. You still like wrath their board.
It's true.
Like artifacts that have like ETB abilities. So like in Pioneer, this now gives you 8 refurbishes. Right. So the Portal to Phyrexia, I mean, like a turn 4 Cityscape leveler.
Yeah.
That, if you get to untap with it, it's a 1 mana. It's a 1/1 flyer that just nukes a permanent every turn, and you don't exile it or anything. So like, if they then killed it after you got like one swing in with
you just do it again.
Yeah, or you then you could unearth your Cityscape leveler. Right, but like I thought Portal was good. God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yeah.
If like, as long as you can get to your attack step,
Right.
right? Like you could, maybe get enough value off of that. I mean, we have way better things to reanimate now than Angel of Sanctions,
Yeah. Angel of
right?
Invention.
And Angel of Invention, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, Angel of Sanction was also a card,
It
but
was not in
like,
Gift though.
yeah, but like a Tally is a 4/4 zombie that casts you 2 spells,
Mm-hmm.
or a Traxa that draws you a bunch of cards is way better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess
that
it
could be
didn't
something to
really
try.
like because of the casting cost and like all the extra tests. I really didn't think about it as just refurbishes 5 through 8.
Yeah,
I assumed that it was on here because you wanted to do something cool, like making your ley line and then a creature or something. I don't know.
no, I'm not. It's not it's not opalescence.
Yeah.
Um, no, just like it's cheap enough and doing like, and it's not like, was it Dance of the Manse?
Yeah.
Where like X had to be like the casting cost.
Yeah.
Right. This is still letting you get something cheap, but it's like a cheap thing that like readily falls apart.
Yeah.
Right. So any like big artifact with an ETB, or like that you can like feel pretty safe to get the trigger,
Yeah.
is probably interesting to do.
I mean, I guess you could also like this would be kind of cute to use with Bolas at Citadel, right?
Oh yeah, like you just like get your Citadel back, and then you're just like,
Go off.
all right, like how many cards can I get through?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like almost probably would have to be like Mardu,
Yeah.
which is weird, or because like the red's where you get the discard from,
Right.
or Naya, and you're just like, I could never cast this thing, but
just never even bother.
never even bother. But I have 8 ways to get it back.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of green things to gain me life, and like I'm racing to 4 mana.
I mean, there's plenty of white stuff that can gain you life too if you really wanted to.
Oh yeah, I guess there's enough Soul Warden effects that like Prosperous Innkeeper is just like,
yeah,
not that big of a deal, because like Woe Strider plus a thing that does Prosperous Innkeeper,
yeah,
is really all you need.
Yeah.
And then like having, oh gosh, Volduran Epicure and Insolent Neonate as your cheap discard outlets.
Yeah.
And they both would like let you get through the top card of your deck. Like Neonate for like no mana. So like that could be interesting, but I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, like if they like tap out, you're just like, all right, like end of your turn, put the Citadel in the graveyard, let's go.
Go time.
All right, next up.
Next up, we have Fabrication Foundry.
Yeah.
1 and a white for an artifact. You can tap it to add white to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast an artifact spell or activate an ability of an artifact. And you can pay 2 and a white and tap it. Exile 1 or more other artifacts you control with total mana value X. Return target non-artifact or target artifact card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery.
2 mana rocks.
Yep.
Like I know this one's limited, but so a while back there was, and this doesn't fit perfectly in that deck, but there was a mono black like ramp deck in it may have still been historic before we split into like made up cards and Explorer, that played Forsaken Monument. Right? Like, and it was black because you got like if near Deadlands.
Yeah.
To like kill something, and then like it was like the cheapest 4 mana sweep. Like you got like Extinction Event kind of stuff. But like in Explorer / Pioneer, like that deck was built around like Guardian Idol, Mindstone.
Yeah.
Right now you have Fabrication Foundry, which could move like, a turn of, a sequence of Iron Crag into this, into the Forsaken Monument, and then just like big things that follow could be quite powerful. So just like back-to-back sets, we've had somewhat limited 2-mana rocks. And this made me think like, oh, you could play like Depopulate. Or there's another like Shatter the Sky.
Yep.
Right? And like there's your kind of removal in white. And then you get Forsaken Monument, and then an artifact that we have later on in here, and you could get to a lot of mana quickly. It'd be limited, but if you have artifacts that, not that Penthead Prism's the best example, but someplace you could put the white mana to turn it into another type of mana.
That's true.
Right? Like some filtering artifact could be good as well. I don't think there's like, we unfortunately don't have the signets,
right?
But like something like that where you could like
filter your mana into usable.
Yeah, wouldn't be embarrassed playing it anyway.
Yeah,
and then just lets you like skip the whole like actually like is there like a 3-mana rock that has like a 1 make a mana of any color kind of like effect? Like something like that could be, you're like, I don't mind playing this mana rock, and it makes my Fabrication Foundry better.
Yeah, I mean, I know you mentioned Penthead Prism, but like Prophetic Prism.
That's what I meant, Prophetic Prism.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, Penthead Prism, I guess, would work too. But
would work too. I have not said the right name of like any card today. We're just really killing it. Well, but yeah, Prophetic.
I mean, the upside of using Prophetic Prism though is you get to draw your card off it, so you can, it replaces itself, and then when you're done filtering your mana, you use the second ability to go get another one, draw a card, go get another one, draw a card, go get another one, draw a card.
Oh yeah, you just kind of like chew through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you have like if you had some like 2-mana, some way to get the Prophetic Prism in your graveyard.
Yeah.
And then you just, I mean, I guess there's a bunch of things you can craft with and whatnot. Those exile. But yeah, like some way to like feed it into your graveyard.
Yeah.
But I was thinking this is a way to get, like, imagine you play a bunch of like Pain lands. So they tap for colorless for when you have Forsaken Monument.
Yep.
But they also tap for white for Fabrication Foundry. So like you can kind of like do like have almost like the best of both worlds, where you're like, oh, when I need colored mana, I have it, but when I need colorless mana to pay for this thing, I have that as well. But yeah, just we went from no real 2-mana mana rocks for like
a long time,
5 years, 6 years. Like there was that bad one from Shadows that was like you had to exile cards from the graveyard with it, and then you could like tap for like the color of the cards under it or something weird. And that was like the last one, and then we just have like 2 that are limited but not super limited.
Right.
And the way things were going, like there's gonna be like some 4-mana conditional artifact Wrath, right? Where there's gonna be like 1 white for an artifact that comes in and like blows up the world.
Right.
And then gains you 1 life a turn or something. You know what I mean? Just like they're gonna have her like I couldn't remember what the text on Cataclysmic Gearhulk was.
It's
but like
choose one of each permanent type and sacrifice the rest.
Okay. But like, I don't your opponent gets to pick their creature types, their card types, right?
Each player chooses one of each.
Okay. Because I knew it wasn't as good as Cataclysm.
Yeah.
But like, some creature like that's an artifact creature that comes in and like blows stuff up.
Yeah.
Like this gets you to that faster in terms of like, oh hey, I have to like, I need a Wrath that Fabrication Foundry can cast.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, hypothetical card, if it's an artifact, this can also buy it back when you need to do it again.
Yes. I mean, like, what is it? Red and black both have an X color blow up the world
That's true.
enchantment.
Yep.
Like, how far away from like X white
Mm-hmm.
blow up creatures with power X or less?
Yeah, I mean this second ability wouldn't work with that though.
No, it wouldn't. But like, hey, I need to like
Yeah.
ramp into a wrath so I don't die.
Yep.
And like this would do that if you had an artifact one. So it's like it's there to get you the artifact payoffs,
Mhm.
but not quite there for like what else you would need. You'd want to have in that kind of deck, right? You'd want to have, a 4-mana wrath that you could cast on turn 3.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But it's interesting because it's not an effect we've gotten very often, and it's just like they're like, screw it, whatever, who cares?
Obviously, it's not an effect that we have very often because we're recording this on Tuesday, and these cards are legal on Arena as of today. And when I signed in, it got a message that said this card's not working on Arena, so it's not on Arena right now.
Oh, it's not?
Yep.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's bugged, so they just said, nope, not on Arena yet.
Interesting.
Yep.
It's like it doesn't impact the draft archetype that much. It's fine.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Get Lost. 1 on the white for an instant. Destroy target creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. Its controller creates 2 map tokens.
Yeah, I think we talked about this one briefly during our mechanics episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just to recap, our 2 maps, better, worse, or the same as the clue from Deck and Stone.
Or the clue from Fateful Absence.
Or the clue
like
from Fateful Absence, yeah.
So, from what people who played like the early access event have said,
yeah,
maps are significantly worse than clues.
Makes sense to me.
And imagine you're a control deck, and like your whole shtick is you don't let your opponent have like permanents.
Right.
Right? You get lost something, they have to have a creature to activate
That's true.
the map on.
Yep.
So like it could just be a piece of cardboard that literally has no text if they don't have creatures.
Yep.
And on the flip side, if you're playing against a control deck and you kill their Teferi,
mm-hmm.
these are just 2 pieces of cardboard that have literally no text because they have no creatures. Right? Like you just have to kill their Kahira.
Yep.
Right? So like you just don't have like there are times where this is just like better terminate.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, way better.
And yeah, like way better terminate. And now there are times where like it can get a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you have to kill if they have 3 creatures and you have to kill their best one.
Yeah.
Right? Now they can maybe draw cards or make their thing bigger. But like the card they draw is a land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As opposed to it could be anything, it could be a boat. And you know what they've drawn, right? You know it. Like you have like additional information.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean, I guess the downside though is in that scenario where they have another creature on board already, like you kill their best creature and then, I mean, 2 mana at any point probably after turn 3 is kind of negligible.
Yeah, or like 1, right? Because you can split it up. You can do 1 and 1, yeah.
But then, like, you also, not only did you potentially, well, you definitely gave them card selection. You potentially gave them card advantage. But you also made their worst creature, like,
better.
A real threat. That you now have to waste another piece of, like, maybe you wouldn't have normally killed their Shambling Ghast, but now it's a 3/3.
Fair. It depends. I think that there are definitely it's not one of those things that you can say it's strictly better than Fateful Absence.
Right.
Right. Ignoring the enchantment text.
Yeah.
Right. But as a creature or planeswalker removal spell, I don't think it is strictly better, but there are definitely going to be situations where it is like way better.
Yeah, I mean,
where like
any kind of deck that's like not applying a ton of pressure, this is going to be better in.
Yeah, any creature light deck is just like, I can't use this thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I definitely think it is probably, probably good sentence construction.
That's right.
I think it's probably going to take a lot of deck space that Fateful Absence had.
Yeah.
Maybe you get into a situation where you, like, if you're a control deck, maybe you split them.
Yeah.
You do like, you might do like 3-1 or 2-2 or something.
Mm-hmm. Have some
Depending
balance
on
on them in the sideboard.
Yeah, so you can like kind of adjust it. But I think it's a really strong card.
Yeah.
And is definitely going to have times where it just, you use it and then your opponent has no targets.
Right.
And like, I guess also the flip side is if you're applying pressure, right? Like,
they don't have
you
time
may
to
make
use
it
the maps.
exactly. So it's kind of like with same as like Fateful Absence, where like you don't give them time to use the clue.
Yeah.
Like here, you just like, okay, yeah, you're not gonna have time to, like, how you're not gonna have a spare mana laying around to do the thing,
right?
Because I'm gonna keep you under pressure. So, yeah, and the fact that they just chucked enchantment on it, like it's just missing. Like in 3 sets, we're gonna get creature, enchantment, artifact, or planeswalker.
Yeah.
You know, target player gets like 2 garbage pails.
In Modern Horizons
artifact.
3, it's going to hit lands too.
Yeah, exactly. It'll just be Vindicate without the black.
Yep.
So it's interesting. It's definitely like constructed power level playable. So, all right, what do we got next?
Next, we got Helping Hand. Single white mana for a sorcery. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
I mean, it's fixed in air quotes unearth.
Yeah, I mean, if by fixed you mean doesn't cycle, but
well, in the fact that it comes into play tapped, like
sure.
I think that is like, because if it didn't come into play tapped, I think enters the battlefield tapped, unless it is not Greasefang, should be what's on that.
Yeah.
Right. All non-Greasefang, all non-rats enter the battlefield untapped, or all rats enter the battlefield tapped.
Yeah.
Because I think that this would have been, when they were designing this set, Greasefang was a very big deal.
True.
And I don't know how we would have held up with a 1 mana get back your Greasefang.
Yeah.
Right. The games that you were like Stitcher Supplier hit Parhelion and a Greasefang, and then go like Thoughtseize, Helping Hands, kill you.
Yeah.
Probably a little too high for that to be okay.
Yeah.
But I think that it's I don't know if it's good enough because of the tapped thing. If it was untapped, I'd be like, oh yeah, cool.
You don't think it's good enough at all? You think that's the only place that it can be used is for Greasefang and the tapping breaks it?
Well, I was also thinking like, Storm Herald.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I
you
think
can put
that
the enchantments anywhere, though. You don't have to put the enchantments.
You can, yeah. You'd have to have Storm Herald have friends.
Yeah.
But like I think you could do it if you were like a very value centric deck where you like your creatures come in and like get you stuff.
Yeah.
But like, so I was like, Jim Davis talking about like, wouldn't you rather just have like another creature in this slot? Like if you have like 2 of these in your opening hand, you kind of don't have a thing. And like Unearth having the cycle gives you a way out of that like nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
and this
I mean,
doesn't. But
unless you're trying to hit a specific thing.
yeah. Yeah, so like if you don't care that the thing comes into play tapped,
Yeah.
then like fine. But my first thought was like Greasefang, Storm Herald, like these things that like, we're using the graveyard we want to get back anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's good enough because of the tapped thing. If it was not tapped, then like I think 100% like it would like just go in Greasefang.
Yeah.
Because you'd have like effective turn 2 kills all the time.
Yeah.
Or like, could you imagine like in Modern? If like, maybe then like Greasefang becomes a deck in Modern where you like have Unearth plus this.
I mean, you have Unearth though.
Yeah, but like now you have 8 of that effect.
Oh yeah.
I guess like it might not matter because like you still only have 4 Greasy Boys. But yeah, I don't know. Like, what would you like? You just want to like bring back like just cool value-y things?
Well, I mean, there are plenty of combos in Magic.
Yeah.
And not all of them require you to tap the thing that you're returning to the battlefield.
This is fair.
I mean, I didn't have any particular use case in mind. I was under the assumption that this was still like playable in, Pioneer at the very least.
It might be like you may very well be right that I'm not thinking of like what the best use case is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even something like dumb, like, oh gosh, what is it? Gloom something, the 1 green black 3/2 enchantment creature.
Oh yeah.
That like, I think it only gets back a permanent though.
Yeah.
But like, if you had some way to like get the thing back and rebuy your helping hands, maybe it's Gloom Shrieker. Like, like an Eternal Witness kind of effect where you just like get back a thing, do it again, get back a thing. Right, where you just are like, yeah, I can like buy 3 3-drops out of my graveyard on turn 3 just by like doop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's another thing you could do as well, like some sort of dread shell where you get back your first prize amalgam and then it brings 3 more.
Yeah, you could definitely like bring back my thing and then just like everyone comes back. Yeah. We're probably missing something. Someone's like screaming at their phone like right now, like, you fools.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's this thing, but
well,
we're not that smart.
Hit us up, let us know.
Yeah. Next up.
Warden
of the...
Yep,
go ahead. No, you first.
Okay. Warden of the Inner Sky. Single white mana for a 1/2 human soldier. As long as Warden of the Inner Sky has 3 or more counters on it, it has flying and vigilance. And you can tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control to put a +1/+1 counter on Warden of the Inner Sky. Scry 1. Activate only as a sorcery.
The activate only as a sorcery is big sad.
Yeah.
This is a soldier.
It is.
It's a human.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1-drop.
Yep.
So in like Pioneer Humans that doesn't have Champion of the Parish.
Oh yeah.
Right, you play this, and then like you play your Thalia's Lieutenant, and it puts a counter on it.
Yep.
And now you've got 1 counter, and then then maybe you have to like at some point if you don't have attacks like just like pump it up.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know if that. I guess I really haven't seen a Pioneer Humans list. Do they play Thraben Inspector? Because that's 2 things towards this.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do, or they have.
Yeah.
Like the deck just is like has like really anemic 1-drops.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't say other.
Right, it can tap itself.
Yeah, so like a like you play Thraben Inspector and then this and like another 1-drop and you can just tap it.
Yeah.
The Thraben Inspector and the Clue.
And if this thing's turned on, woken up, whatever you want to call it, it has vigilance, so you can swing and then pump it.
Yeah, good point. Like when it's attacking.
Yeah, that's probably why it says only as a sorcery, because I don't want you to.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can't do that.
Then
we have to do it afterwards.
Trick. Yeah.
Boo. Or Or it might be, tinfoil hat time because they didn't want to hold people up on their turn on arena,
Oh, that could be too.
waiting for you to like decide to activate it.
Yeah.
So this just lets you pass through faster.
Makes sense as well.
But no, I think it's just like the best one drop for humans in Pioneer.
Probably.
If like that deck can be like a thing, like it probably is helped by Warden of the Inner Sky. So just real quick, I don't know anything about the story of Ixalan, but like, is Ixalan like Hollow Earth? Is it just like we've got like the little pirate like people hanging out like on the water on top, but then there's just like a giant hollow core that's full of, looks at card, dragons flying around?
From what I can tell, yes. Like I said during the pre-show and a week or so ago in Discord, the guy that I normally check out for my story recaps, I haven't been fed his videos lately, and I haven't had a ton of time to go seeking them out either, so I don't know what the actual story is. But yeah, from what I understand, it's Hollow Ixalan.
Awesome. Okay. Yep. Just this thin layer with water on top, and then a giant world underneath.
Yeah, what's that hole in the Arctic Circle or something?
Yeah, you just walk in.
Yeah,
I think that's where. Was that like one of the Godzilla movies? They had to go to like some like Antarctica, and there was like a hole that like got you into like where Godzilla's from.
Yep. I think it's the Arctic though, not the Antarctic.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one of those movies that you like watch and like you retain nothing from other than like big dinosaur punch big monkey.
Right.
The end.
That's all that matters.
What happened? They fought on a boat. And then what happened? Then they fought like in the earth. And then what happened? I think it ended.
One of two genres of movie where the story is not important.
Yes. Yes. All right, we got blue.
Yeah. This was one that you specifically wanted to talk about, right?
Yes. So this is braided net. It's 2 and a blue. It's and it comes into play with 3 net counters on it. Thanks, Wizards, for giving us +1/+1 counters and net counters.
Net counters, yeah.
I'd like to point out, net counters does give like 1994 vibes.
Where you just have random name counter for a thematic thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Each counter is a head.
Yeah.
So
Rock Hydra.
Yes. Remove a net counter from braided net. Tap another target non-land permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated for as long as it remains tapped.
Mm-hmm.
So they've worded this so you can tap planeswalkers.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
So like in their upkeep, you can turn off their planeswalker.
Yeah, that's cute.
But what was interesting was the backside. So this has craft for 1 and a blue. And the backside is braided.
Kipu?
Yeah, Kipu? I don't know.
Something.
Neat looking shirt thing. So this is 3 and a blue. So it's got an activated ability, 3 and a blue. Draw a card for each artifact you control. Then put braided Kipu into its owner's library 3rd from the top. Like, this could just draw you a ton of cards.
Yeah.
Like,
especially
so
if you got a way
cards
to like get through your deck, like activate into Fairy or something.
Yeah, but like you can just like, but like imagine like 4 mana draw 5.
Yeah.
Is just like fine. And like, I know it was a long time ago, but like Tumble Magnet has like seen play in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, tap their best thing. And the fact it's like a free icy manipulator that taps
right
that like deactivates planeswalkers is kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where they're like, whatever. Oh, what is it called? Wandering Emperor, and you're just like, yeah, no. Like you can't do that. Like you don't get to make your soldier on your turn or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's this side is what I thought was like most interesting was like if you are able to like make this 4 mana draw 6, draw 7.
Yeah, I mean if you got some treasures or clues or bloods or whatever other random artifact token kicking around. Foods,
Maps.
maps.
God help you. God help your opponent if they're like get lost
Yeah.
one of your things. And you're like, excellent. That's just 2 cards. Like 2 cards on layaway. Thank you very much.
Perfect. All right. Next up in blue, we have Confounding Riddle. 2 and a blue for an instant, and you choose one. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard, or counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. Now, we pretty much had this exact card back in Amonkhet, right?
Mm-hmm. Supreme
Will, yep. That card was very good then.
Yeah, so the differences are Supreme Will puts the cards on the bottom of your library.
Yeah, this puts them in the graveyard.
And Supreme Will was pay 3.
Was it? I thought it was pay 4.
Everyone's like, I will check. Because everyone's like, oh, this is so much better. Supreme Will MTG collectible card game. No, that's Supreme Verdict. No, try
Wrong
again.
Supreme.
Wrong Supreme. Is it pay 4? No, it's pay 3.
Oh, okay.
According to Gatherer, it is pay 3. So this is kind of better on both ends.
Yeah, I don't know that like the difference between pay 3 and pay 4 is that big though.
I'm
like at what point is your tax just like counterspell?
I mean, I think this stays counterspell longer.
Well, sure.
I mean, that was more my thought. Is like it's counterspell for longer.
Yeah. Okay.
Or cancel for longer.
Yeah.
And like any kind of graveyard synergies you have, like this just like enables them.
Yeah, ramps them up.
Yeah. So just the fact that it is a graveyard enabler plus cancel for a really long time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like they had to make this in your graveyard instead on the bottom of your library for Descend, though, right?
Exactly. Like I know we know why it's like this, but like it still makes it more powerful, right? I mean,
sure.
That's the difference between like consider and opt.
Right.
Right. Like everyone's like, oh, I'd rather have it in my graveyard.
Yeah.
So, right, like, you know, if we ever get delve cards in standard again, right, then like, you know, for standard or like pioneer, that makes Confounding Riddle way better.
Right.
All right.
For sure. Then we have Kite Sail Larcenist. 2 and a blue for a 2/3 human pirate. It has flying and ward 1. And when Kite Sail Larcenist enters the battlefield, for each player, choose up to 1 other target, artifact, or creature that player controls. For as long as Kite Sail Larcenist remains on the battlefield, the chosen permanents become treasures. With tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and lose all other abilities.
So, you like a Banisher Priest?
Yeah.
This is just blue, like Banisher Priest. What is the actual card that gets played down that turns into a 3/3 that like the werewolf?
Oh,
the white one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more topical name I cannot remember.
Brutal Cathar.
Like Brutal Cathar. There we go. And Brutal Cathar is a 2/2.
Yep.
This is a 2/3, so it doesn't eat play with fire.
Right.
And it has ward 1. Now, in theory, they can pay the ward with their treasure, but then you've just killed their thing.
Yeah, they still lose their thing. This also has evasion.
Yeah. Like, this just seems like a very pushed Brutal Cathar in blue.
Yep.
And also, again, if you're keeping track at home, another human.
Yeah, this kills one of your things, too, though. Oh, no, it's up to 1. I gotcha.
Up to 1.
Yep. You can turn your map into a
1.
treasure.
You can turn your map into a treasure.
Yeah.
But, like, this could push you to, like, Esper humans, right? Where you play, like, this and Reflector Mage. And then you have, like, Kite Sail Freebooter. And then General Kudrow.
Yep.
Or, like, Bant, where you would get Collected Company. And this, and Reflector Mage, and Brutal Cathar.
Yeah.
And
all of your creatures just eat a creature when they ETB?
Yeah, and there's like the He's a legend. It's like 1 white green. All like your creatures get +1/+1. It's like King something or other with
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
stack of Roman numerals after his name.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can have any number of like all your 3-drops are just like some versions of a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
So like this is just a weird effect to get in blue.
Mhm. Well, I mean, blue does
And
polymorph stuff.
it does. But also like it's a good creature. Like we've seen
Yeah.
that like the ward 1 on Rafine is super annoying.
Yeah.
Right? So the ward 1 here is going to be super annoying.
Yep.
And yeah, so it just kind of is a weird card in blue and like could open up ways for blue to like interact with creatures that they haven't had before.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of cool if you have like a way to flicker this,
Oh
because
yeah.
like if you put your opponent in a place where they need to use that mana, then you just like flicker this and make another thing a treasure. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
or they feel like they're like, oh haha, I can play my shield druid on turn 3.
Right.
And then you just flicker this and then eat their shield druid.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, cool. Like we killed one thing and now we've like made shield druid a treasure.
Yeah.
Like we've come out far ahead on this exchange.
Yeah, I guess that like makes this thing kind of a killer tempo play if you can find a way to make it ETB a whole bunch of times, because you can play it early and hit something that's pressuring you but isn't really worthy of being a treasure, and
Mm-hmm.
then later in the game, like you said, you hit their shield rid or you hit whatever.
Yeah, you like they're a track said, you're like, so yeah, but this is very like it gives blue a way to play like that white game plan
Mm-hmm.
with like some other cards we'll see
Yeah.
of like 1, 2, 3 aggressive, but like all the blue stuff just also flies.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just able to do that like aggressive, like I'm just gonna curve out, and then like we've all had the like they play Brutal Cathar and you're just like, oh man, I'm so far behind.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh, they pay their like 2/3 flyer that I can't kill. I'm
Right.
like really far behind now. So like a Brutal Cathar would stay on the battlefield. So like if you like ate a Brutal Cathar
Mm-hmm.
if you turn a Brutal Cathar into a treasure, you wouldn't get your thing back.
Oh,
And if
that's
they
true.
if they sacked the treasure, then you wouldn't get your thing back because Brutal Cathar's like return it to the battlefield text would be gone.
Right, because it lost its ability.
Yeah. That's a thing to
Interesting.
keep in mind.
Yeah, that's a weird interaction.
I am sure that they were not planning on having this in Brutal Cathar, both in standard.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a very strange interaction.
All right.
So what do we got? Is this another card for that 1, 2, 3 deck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel. Nice name I can say. It's it is a 1 in the blue for a legendary creature, Siren Pirate.
Ooh.
It's a 2/1 flash flying, and when it deals combat damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it.
Ooh,
Draw
so we
a
got
card.
Nets, Chorus, and +1/+1 counters?
Yeah, someone looked at the card file from Alpha and was like, more of this. We're gonna get like +2, -1 counters before too much longer.
Yep.
But we put a chorus counter on it and draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 more chorus counters on Malcolm, he may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost.
That's cool.
I mean, an evasive 2-mana flash creature that like lets you hold up make disappear.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is like a super kind of like tempo play where you just like go, and then if they don't do anything, you play this, and now you're like slowly like grinding through your deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's a looter, like it has to hit, but Looter Scooter did a ton of work. It was a 3/3.
Yeah.
But like that looting was super beneficial.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where like, now granted, if you've hit them 4 times, they're at 12. You're like well on your way to winning. But like by the time you get the fourth one, you just get to cast something for free.
Yeah, and like there's no restrictions on that. Like you could
No.
cast the Hullbreaker Horror.
Yeah, you just get to get them.
Yeah.
You're like tempo plays, and then you just cast a Hullbreaker Horror. Like, ta-da! Surprise, surprise.
And then you get to do that from every turn there on out also.
Yeah. I would assume you do that once and win the game,
Probably.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we also
not if you're casting like, I don't know, like small tempo creatures. You're probably not just going to win the game, but.
And we also have Quick Study, the instant speed divination from last set.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Right, so that now you just
for 3 cards.
Yeah, but like, but again, like on turn 3, you're holding up your Confounding Riddle.
Yep.
Your Malcolm, or your Quick Study, or your Make Disappear. Do what you will.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah, this is one of my complaints about sticking flash on everything is there used to be a time where like you had to decide if you were going to go shields down and play a threat.
Right.
And now in Modern Magic you don't have to make that decision.
Hey, you know what else has flash?
What?
Hullbreaker Horror.
It does. It does. But like there was a time where like you had to like, make a choice.
Yeah.
And, cards like this are like, no, you don't.
Yep. No choice to be made.
There's no tension here. Just cast it when it's best.
Have your cake and eat it too.
But no, I think this card is like strong and like a tempo play. It's a Lushen. You can probably play like 2 or 3. But it does loot away the extra copies.
It does.
So
I guess there's the only way to put extra chorus counters on it is to proliferate, right? You can't.
Yeah. Or give it double strike.
Oh, yeah, that's cute. Is there cheap equipment that gives it double strike?
Not that I know of off the top of my head. Yeah. Give them a few months.
The knuckles.
Brass knuckles. Yeah, there we go. And then one last card here.
One last card in blue. We got Tishana's Tidebinder. 2 and a blue for a 3/2 Merfolk Wizard. Again with flash. When Tishana's Tidebinder enters the battlefield, counter up to 1 target activated or triggered ability. If an ability of an artifact, creature, or planeswalker is countered this way, that permanent loses all abilities for as long as Tishana's Tidebinder remains on the battlefield. And in parentheses, mana abilities cannot be targeted.
Fair. Because you don't want to Stone Rain your opponent.
Right.
This is, again, like a super, like, nimble obstructionist. It doesn't fly, but, like, it just turns a Shieldred into a 4/5. No text. Because it gets triggered ability, so, like,
right.
You draw your card, you put it on the stack, and then you just flash this in.
Right.
It shuts off planeswalkers.
It sure does. Answers a Wandering Emperor pretty nice.
Yeah, so it's very much like I don't know, it's like our Kitesail Larcenist. It's not quite Brutal Cathar, but it's close.
Right.
And like, I don't know, a flash 3/2 is not great, but like as a fail case it's fine.
What about implications in Fish?
People had talked about putting this in Merfolk. Like it's like not quite as good. Like, I don't know. On the like beat down tempo plan, it's not as good as say Merfolk Trickster.
Yeah.
Which is gonna get like a blocker out of the way and like get you in. But in terms of like dealing with like a long term problem or some like planeswalker you can't otherwise deal with in Fish.
Well,
like this seems
this
pretty
answers
good.
a Fury.
Oh yeah, it does.
Well, I guess kind of. It would answer the ability, but then Fury would lose Evoke, or no, because the Evoke trigger would still be on the stack.
Yeah, so then it would
Yeah.
get evoked.
Yeah.
Um,
That's another weird interaction. But yeah,
yeah.
like I mean, decks like Fish struggle with Fury because it just sweeps your board up when you're trying to
Hmm.
build it, and this answers that pretty well.
Pretty cleanly. Um, yeah, it could be good in Fish. I hadn't thought about that. I was just thinking more like it's again like a weird banisher priest kind of effect.
Hmm.
Um, and like blue decks have a hard time dealing with planeswalkers,
Yes.
and this is like a good way to deal with a planeswalker.
Yep.
Um, okay, it's only that permanent. It's not like all copies of it. So
Right.
if they're gonna play another Teferi,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think it is very much in the realm of um like the kite sail larcenist,
Hmm.
banisher priest kind of thing, or like it's almost witness protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Still, it leaves the thing big though.
it leaves the thing big, but you know, which is like if you like the rest of your deck is like 2/1 flyers that loot
Yeah.
and 2/3 flyers that banisher priest something or brutal cathar something for all the zoomers out there. Um, like having a like Shieldred just be a 4/5
Yeah.
is like not the end of the world.
Right.
You're just like I'm gonna fly over you and you just can't gain life.
Yeah.
Like that works. So yeah, they have some really weird blue cards that feel like they're doing things. The way they're worded is like, yeah, man, this is blue,
Yeah.
but
It's like
what they're
thematically blue, but not color pie blue.
yeah,
Yeah.
like oh yeah, the way you like kind of couch this. Oh, it's blue doing tricky stuff, but it's like no, that's just like a removal. We had remember minimus containment.
Yep.
That the white card for 3 mana that turns your thing into a treasure.
Yeah.
Now we have the blue version,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, it's kind of tricky in blue. And it's like, yeah, but it's weird. Like both of these feel kind of white. Like this is like the doing it once, the stifle, nibble, obstructionist thing.
Yeah.
But then the fact that it like then hangs around.
Yeah. That seems more white.
Yeah. So like the first line of text, counter it, or to the first period, blue.
Yep.
The second sentence, white.
All right. I think that wraps up blue, right?
That I think so. I think we
All
can
right.
get through black. There aren't that many cards, and then we'll probably call it after we get through black.
Sounds like a plan. So moving on to black, we have Bitter Triumph, 1 and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or pay 3 life. Destroy target creature or planeswalker.
So I looked at this as this is the Black Lightning X. Now,
Yeah.
it is double the mana.
Mhm.
I know. But, like, the reason people play Lightning X is, yes, it's cheap, but also it enables shenanigans.
Right. You get to discard a card.
You get to discard a card. So you get this. And then it's also, like, worse Infernal Grasp,
Mhm.
where Infernal Grasp costs you 2 life, and this costs you 3, right? But you're like, you're probably on the discard a card side if you're gonna play this.
Mhm.
But if you have the fail case a lot of times of you can pay the 3 life,
Sure.
hopefully, right? But you're like, oh, I'm gonna like reanimate my, oh god, my Atraxa.
Mhm.
So I've got my reanimation spell. I'll kill your thing, discard my Atraxa, then get it back.
Yep.
Or my Atali or whatever. And this gives you like a way to do that kind of easily.
Mhm.
So it's just not it's kind of the pioneer, what is it, Bone? Is it Bone Shards? Is that the Modern
Yeah.
Horizons card?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of the pioneer Bone Shards.
Bone Splinter, Bone Shard, whichever.
I think, yeah, whichever one lets you or discard a card.
Yeah.
So
Um.
that was all. That was all I had for this one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were going like down the Death Shadow route.
I mean, you could. I mean, also turn to Bitter Triumph, kill your thing, discard my Parhelion, play my Greasefang.
Yeah, that's cute too.
It's also like, I was like, oh, it'd be a shame if something happened to your creature that's stopping me from getting back my Parhelion.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have the Death Shadow at home that's Pioneer legal.
Oh
and
yeah.
You have Thoughtseize there, and this is just another way for you to pay life to turn it on.
Yeah, like shock, Thoughtseize, shock, kill your thing, then play your Mortality Shadow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reasonable.
Yep.
That could probably work.
Maybe. So the next up is I have 3 cards. And I all kind of want to say the same thing about all of them.
Okay.
Well, I want to ask the same question of all of them, I should say. The first one is Chupacabra Echo. 2 black for a 3/2 with Fathomless Descent. When Chupacabra Echo enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. How close is this to Chupacabra?
So you cut out for a second. It's number of permanent cards in your graveyard.
Yep.
So -X, okay. It is Chupacabra that you have to do significantly more work for.
Yeah, I mean, you don't just get to like kill something.
Yeah. So like I think that's like a big difference, right? Because like Chupacabra like saw play in like standard decks that like didn't care about their graveyard at all.
Right.
Right. It was just like a 4-mana 2-for-1.
Yeah.
And like once you've done the work, this is kind of the same thing. And it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it is a lot more work though. Like realistically, the 3/2 doesn't change the clock that much.
No.
And you do have to be a lot more careful about like when you're putting stuff in the graveyard to turn this on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that this is going to see the same play as Ravenous Chupacabra did.
No. Like one thing that like has been true over the last few years of like of standard and like constructed Magic is like cards that have a fail case.
Yeah.
Rarely see play.
Right.
Right, and like your opponent could play a Rest in Peace, or you could just have nothing in your graveyard.
True.
Or like no permanents, and then you just have a 4-mana 3/2, which isn't good enough.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's not going to see play just because you have to do that extra work.
Mm-hmm. All right. The next one is Fanatical Offering. 1 and a black for an instant is an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature. This sounds familiar.
It does.
Draw 2 cards and create a map token.
So this is Deadly Dispute, but instead of a treasure, you get a map.
Yep. How much of a downgrade is a map to a treasure?
I kind of think it's pretty big.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the reason that people played Deadly Dispute was because it let them ramp the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't that.
Like the Shambling Ghast.
Yeah.
Get a treasure from it, get a treasure from Deadly Dispute, and then like play a 5-drop on turn 3.
Yeah.
Was like a horrible play pattern in standard when you were on the other side of it.
Right.
It's like, oh.
The other thing that's awkward is that like we mentioned before, in order to use a map token, you have to have a creature. And if you're sacrificing your creature to this thing, you have 1 less creature to use your map token with.
Mm-hmm.
So like the map token might just do nothing.
I mean, there have been many a times where people have sacrificed their treasure to the next Deadly Dispute.
Yeah, I guess you could sacrifice your map
so like
to another
this still
Fanatical.
has that value there.
Yeah.
But no, I think the like the amount of times that like that treasure got used as like it's like seemingly it was like I'm going to use Deadly Dispute as a ramp spell.
Yep.
This is like a ritual.
Yep.
Was pretty high.
Yep.
So yeah, I think like I do we have anything like I guess we have the Reckoner's Bargain from Kamigawa that's like I think it might be creature artifact as well. And it's like you gain life equal to its mana cost
Yeah.
or something. Right, like this is better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because it gives you the material to do it
again.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like this is like Deadly Dispute at home.
So while we were talking about Deadly Dispute at home, we mentioned Shambling Guest a couple times, right?
We did.
So how about Greedy Freebooter? Black mana for a 1/1 human pirate. When it dies, scry 1 and create a treasure. How close are we to Shambling Guest?
Like, you are getting... Like, you're losing the flexibility, right? Like, you didn't always need the treasure from Shambling Ghast. You didn't always want the neg 1. But, like, the fact that you had those options, even if it was, like, 80-20 treasure to neg 1, the times where you got to, like, sack it to Deadly Dispute and kill your opponent's thing just were great.
So one of the things I noted, obviously I have cast lots of Shambling Ghasts. That is very much my type of card. One of the things I noticed that was kind of a common occurrence when playing Shambling Ghast is that your opponent was very reluctant to attack into it. It didn't necessarily matter if you could kill their thing outright or not. Just the fact that you had the decision that you could either make the treasure or like potentially trade up or get a 2-for-1 or whatever meant that a single Shambling Ghast could keep like 2 creatures at bay for a couple turns. Whereas like this is never going to do that.
Yeah, this only ever kills an X1. Shambling Ghast kills X2s.
And could potentially kill 2 X1s.
Yeah.
Or kill an X1 and ramp you or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's close, but I do still think the Shambling Ghast is better. The only thing that we can say about Greedy Freebooter that we probably couldn't say for the other ones is it may have better creature types, or it does.
True. Human pirate.
Right. I don't know. Shambling Ghast is a zombie.
Yeah, zombie's a pretty good creature type.
And yeah, human is a good creature type.
Yeah.
Not that this kind of does human deck things.
Right.
But it is still a human and can like get triggers and buffs off of human things. So yeah, I think Shambling Ghast is in general better.
So we don't have Shambling Ghast and we don't have Deadly Dispute in Standard though. So
yeah, I mean,
do you think that the combination of Fanatical Offering and Greedy Freebooter is close enough to Deadly Dispute Shambling Ghast to see play, or did we just miss completely?
It might be, and the reason it might be is like a turn 3 Shieldred is devastating.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like Greedy Freebooter, block, sack to the whatever, Fanatical whatever, and then turn 3 play a Shieldred.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know. Like the problem is like the black cards are already pretty good. Right? Like, do you need Greedy Freebooter? God, we can't say it. Greedy Freebooter and Fanatical whatever. Do you need that package in your deck?
Probably not.
Or is it just like random stuff in your deck that doesn't really help it?
Yeah.
This is also, again, getting on my soapbox. This is why making a bigger standard doesn't fix your problems.
True.
Right? Like, oh, like, these can't outcompete Shieldred and Graveyard Trespasser and Misery Shadow.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, why bother? I will add, since we're doing which is better,
Mhm.
I will surprise you with one.
Okay.
Make sure I have the right there it was.
Well, the only reason I
Wait,
was doing a which was better here is because when I was going through the card file, it was like these 3 cards caught my eye all in a row,
okay.
and I was like, "Oh, well, that's kind of a little fun game to play in the middle of the show. Let's just talk about
Here
all
we
3
go.
of these cards."
Here we go. Here's one. So we have I don't know, I guess we'll do the we were doing the new version first.
Okay.
Uh Deep Cavern Bat.
Mhm.
1 in a black for a 1/1 creature bat with flying and lifelink. When Deep Cavern Bat enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it until Deep Cavern Bat leaves the battlefield. Versus Kitesail Freebooter.
Well, I mean, Freebooter has better creature types, but I think I'd rather have the bat.
Yeah, because Freebooter says non-creature, non-land.
Yeah.
So, like, the bat is just Mesmeric Fiend
Mhm.
that flies and has lifelink?
Yeah.
And yeah, so like if you're playing a human deck, right, and you're on 12 rainbow lands for creature types,
Yeah.
Kitesail Freebooter all day. You have one job, take their wrath, right? You and Thalia team up, make sure we don't get wrathed.
Mhm.
But like if you're just playing like, like again, like random black deck, right? Maybe you're like, okay, bat, like I need you to take their wrath or take the removal spell from my boy Shieldred.
That's right.
So, or my girl Shieldred, so that I don't know, I don't know, I don't know what you get to be when you're like half like giant centipede spider thing.
Whatever.
But
Pick your pronouns.
yeah, but protect my girl so I can like win the game off the back of this 4/5.
Yeah.
But like that card is just like better freebooter with like worse creature types,
Mhm.
right? Like if it was like Deep Cavern freebooter and it was a 1/1 pirate with like the same like abilities, you'd be like, oh yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
think only the really only the creature types the only thing that like gives you pause. It gets like 1 less toughness, but like
That's not really that big a deal on
that's not
a
a big a
cheap
deal.
flyer.
Yeah. So, but there you go.
Yep. Who wore it better?
Who wore this better? There you go.
All right. The next card we got here is Souls of the Lost. This is 1 in a black for a spirit that is star/star+1. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent, and it has Fathomless Descent. Souls of the Lost's power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. And its flavor text is, "Do you remember us? Do you remember when a card like this was playable?"
I remember you Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
So it is a Tarmogoyf that can get bigger than a 6/7.
But also has a downside.
Also has
Potentially
a
a
downside.
downside.
Right? I mean, like again, do you have some way to to like make use of the discard? Or, do you have like, your greedy freebooter that
Mhm.
you're okay sacking?
Well, my first thought was like Tarmogoyf isn't good anymore. So why is Tarmogoyf with downside going to be any different story?
I think you're probably right. Like, two
Like,
mana big isn't good enough anymore.
right. Like even if Tarmogoyf was Pioneer legal, I don't know that it would see play.
No.
If it was Standard legal, I know it wouldn't see play. Like it's so much harder to get the card types in your graveyard in Pioneer and Standard than it is in Modern. And then like to add a downside on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're trying to make the downside like an upside for Descend or whatever.
Sure.
But again, cards that require work just don't get played.
Yep.
Right? So, like, you play this and your opponent plays like a Graveyard Trespasser.
Oh.
Like it's just over, right? Like
Yeah.
you just spent 2 cards to have an 0-1 for the rest of the game.
Right.
Like that just doesn't work.
Yep.
I guess it's a 1-2 on your turn before they get to attack and eat your graveyard.
Sure.
I just thought of something as we were going through this.
Okay.
Our next set is like Clue at Markov Manor or whatever.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet we have Madness? This
Oh,
whole
maybe.
set's full of Madness enablers.
That's true. I think they mentioned something about it's a Karlov Manor. It's on
Karlov
Ravnica,
Manor.
not
Okay.
Innistrad. So like House Karlov, Orzhov, whatever.
Oh yeah, Tessa Karlov.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or but
Tessa, whatever.
I think that's supposed to have like an Eldritch vibe.
Okay.
Which would fit with like a Madness. Game. Yeah. So yeah, maybe so, you're right. Like, I mean, there are like a ton of Madness enablers in this set. I love Madness. That would be awesome if it came back.
Yeah, like we had like some more Madness cards. Like that would be great.
And not that it's going to be like, true Ravnica themed with like all the guilds, but like Madness is super a Rakdos mechanic anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's never made it into a Ravnica set with Rakdos, but
yeah, it's always been in like supplemental draft products and like Innistrad, right?
Yeah, and
I guess like way back
or whatever.
Yeah, like Onslaught a long time ago, like its first appearance.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, there you go. We've planted our flag for
called shot for the next set.
Yeah. All right. Stalactite Stalker is a black for a 1/1 Goblin Rogue with Menace. At the beginning of each end step, if you descend to this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and pay 2 and a black, sack it. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is Stalactite Stalker's power.
It's your end step, not each end step.
Oh, your end step. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's just your turn.
So it's been pointed out that this card is comically easy to be a 2/2.
Yes.
In Modern.
I mean, I think it's comically easy to be a 2/2 in most formats.
I mean, on the play a fetch land fetch.
Oh yeah.
And then play this
turn 1. You mean
turn 1? You get a 2/2.
Yeah.
A 2/2 menace. So so it's Goblin Guide with only upside. Right, it doesn't have haste, but like 1 mana 2/2 kind of thing.
Yep.
So like in Modern, it's gonna like grow pretty quickly, but the problem is like Fatal Push, Portable Hole, Cut Down, like just all like you're gonna like your opponent's gonna be, no matter how big it is, your opponent's gonna be able to trade. But is this the best black 1-drop that you can actually play on turn 1?
Yeah,
like, you can't
probably.
You can't play Death Shadow on turn 1.
Right.
So I think like for the black 1-drop, this might be the best black 1-drop period.
Yeah. You're also like turning it on is like it's comically easy. You have to put in like actually 0 work to make this do the thing. Like you're just going to do this
the game
every turn. So I don't know that like them killing your 1-drop is like you're not down anything if that happens, and if they don't kill it, you are like so far ahead.
Do you remember one of my least favorite decks, Blue Black Rogues?
Yep.
They had like 1/1-drop in that deck.
Yep.
No, they had the terrible like 1 mana 1/1 like Merfolk Wind whatever, like the flying rogue.
Wind Robber.
Yeah. This card's so much better than that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like and then like late game, if you need to get a flying blocker out of the way, you have the ability.
I mean, you could swing and then do that. You don't have to tap it to do the thing, so you could crack in and then sack it. And
also like the blue black lord, or not lord, but +1/+0.
Yep.
Right, grows this guy's power for its sack ability as well. So yeah, like this card just seems really strong. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it almost definitely has a home in Blue Black Rogues. Like I'd much rather have this than like Merfolk Windrobber.
I don't know that like strong is the right word because like the card itself, I don't think is like super powerful. I don't think it's overpowered.
Oh no.
But I think it's definitely good and we'll see play. Like if
Yeah.
you're in the market for some sort of aggressive X black deck, um, tag you're it, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, also, if this would have been in Khan's block, we would have lost our minds.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we've just been desensitized,
true.
right? Like we'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god." So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, this card is solid, and being a rogue and like being a goblin can also be useful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and black
So,
is one of the goblin colors, so
hmm and black is a rogue color, like it's just like
true.
perfectly split.
Yep. All right, we got one more card for today. Tarian's Journal. This is 1 and a black for a legendary artifact. You can tap, sacrifice another artifact or creature to draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. It's a good way to turn on Descend or whatever.
hmm
And then you can pay 2 and tap and discard your hand to transform Tarian's Journal.
Okay.
And then it transforms into the Tomb of Elkatots. It's a legendary cave. You can tap to add a black, or you can tap it and cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it and is a vampire in addition to its other types.
Is this our third or this is our fourth different type of counter in this set?
Yeah, sure is.
Clean.
Yep.
Clean design, no notes.
Yep.
I don't know how often you're gonna want to flip this over.
Okay.
Like the front side is like everything a sacrifice deck wants.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of stinks that it's at sorcery speed, but yeah.
Yeah, you're just like dupe to dupe to dupe. I'll just like sack this fodder and draw cards like greedy freebooter.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. Go away. Shambling gas, go away.
Yeah, I mean,
I have some foods, like I'll sack a cat, get my cat back.
Yep.
Right, like it's not Witch's Oven.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in that same like ballpark of just like this is like a card advantage-y thing. And what's weird is like the sack ability is at odds with the flip ability, right?
True.
The top ability is like fill your hand up, sucker, and then the bottom ability is like a one with nothing yourself. And you're like, I don't want a one with nothing myself. Did I just think of okay? Like, is this just like the dredgiest dredge card ever?
Well, yeah, that's why I assumed you put it on the list. Because I did not think that 2 mana for sacrifice something to draw a card was worth it. Like we already have that on like a few other cards, and they never really got anywhere. I assume that you put this here for discard.
I just realized, yeah, that maybe there could be a deck that wants to one with nothing itself.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, cast something. No, I was thinking of it just like I guess I don't know what like you could like I was thinking like this could be a thing you could play in, like red black sack, or something like that. But I guess also like those decks against like a control deck, you will get to a point where you just don't have a hand.
Yeah.
And then just like flip this over, get to recast all the cards out of my graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Can be good like in a super long game.
For sure.
Where you're like doing the top thing and then you're just like, oh, I don't have any more cards.
Yeah.
And like you can do this at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like end of your turn, flip it.
Right.
Or if they tried to what?
Well, I was just gonna say, go ahead and finish your thought. If they tried,
if they like try to interact with the artifact, you can flip it into the land.
Yeah. You had said, I don't know, a couple minutes ago or whatever, that this was no Witch's Oven.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Witch's Oven is better than this, or Witch's Oven is worse than this?
So,
because I could see an argument both ways.
I think as a, like So specifically with like cat, witch's oven is way better than this.
Yeah.
With generic creature,
Yeah.
I think this is better than witch's oven.
I mean, maybe not. It depends if cat is in your deck.
Yes, like
If
do
cat
you
is
have a
in your
use for the food?
yeah, if like cat oven is in the deck, I don't think that this is. I think you would rather have a 5th witch's oven than your first Tarian's journal.
Probably.
So my question to you was going to be, forget about the discard your hand, flip it. If we knock a mana off of this,
I think it's really good then, right? Like,
yeah, like I think that's what the problem is. I think that's what my problem is with
is
this
it?
card.
It's
Is it
two?
cost? Is yeah, it costs 2.
And I guess like it feels like they're trying to be safe. Make it two and as a sorcery,
Yeah,
right? Like I guess like if you like if it was one and as a sorcery, okay maybe.
yeah,
If it's two and at instant speed, okay maybe. But maybe you're right. Maybe that the combination of those two things.
yeah,
But I was just more on like the just kind of like grinding through creatures, having things to sacrifice.
yeah.
Like if you're gonna play like, there's a what is it called? Some weird fungus thing. I did a good job. This whole set's weird fungus things.
There's a lot of weird
Um
fungus things in this set, sure.
there is. Oh gosh, what is it? Oh, there's Synapse Necromage.
Yeah.
Um right, the 3 mana 3/1 that dies into 2 fungi.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like if you like feed that to this, then
Yeah.
you get more food for it. So there are like things you can do with it, but maybe we're to the point of you would rather have, Oni Cult Anvil
Yeah.
kind of things where like it makes its own food.
Right. Yeah, like a deck like that just wants to keep its engine going, and drawing a card is nice and lets you rebuild, but it doesn't keep the engine going.
Fair.
And I think at 2 mana, like you want to be doing other things on your second turn instead of
Mhm.
setting up for a potential play down the road. So
Fair enough.
I
All
was
right.
like I can see
Oh,
the merits of it, but I wasn't like super duper high on this card. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's
amazing.
yeah, it's not the
All
bee's
right.
knees.
So we are an hour and 20 minutes in, and we have made it through black. So I think we'll call it here, and we'll do red, green, colorless, and then cycles next time.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. So if you want to reach out to us on social media, wait. With that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
All right. Whew.
Almost missed
You
it
didn't want
there.
to see. You didn't want to see people on the internet a few weeks ago. I almost didn't know it was a show. It's just falling apart.
We're in a cave.
We're in a cave.
That was my
it's
excuse
hard.
last week. We're still in a cave.
It's hard.
I can't see the light.
I can't see the light. I don't know what I'm supposed to say next. But if you want to reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, X going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Email, all those things are in the description below. Come say hey, give us suggestions. Tell us why Tarian's Journal is secretly the most bustedest card in the history of bustedest cards.
Yeah, tell us what we got right, what we got wrong, what you wanted to hear about instead. We're all ears. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. First, as always, is our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, purchase whatever you're going to purchase, and support the show at the same time. We would really appreciate it. The second way is through our Patreon, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Patrons get access to our show notes. They get access to our pre-show, double the content out of us every week. And you get put on my mailing list when I have swag to send out. If any of that sounds good to you, or if you really just want to support the show, if you want to show us how much you appreciate it, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can chip a couple bucks in and help keep the show going. Thanks to all our patrons.
We promise one day we'll learn how to like talk.
Eventually, you'd think.
Eventually.
How long is this? 3 years in? 4 years in? We'd have learned to talk by
Almost
now.
4 years in. More, yeah, no, more than 4. Almost 5.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, 252
Wow.
is like over 4 years, almost 5.
Holy moly! We've been doing this too long.
We have. We have.
What'd you say when we first started this? How many episodes did we have to do to be a success? There was
I
like
don't
some
know.
crazy statistic, like the number of podcasts that last more than.
Oh, it's like most podcasts don't make it like 10 episodes, and if you make it 20 episodes, then you just like keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 20 or something, and we've done 252, and we're not independently wealthy yet.
What's the
Come
matter
on.
with us?
We're doing it wrong.
I guess. The problem is we're doing it for fun. All those schmucks that are doing it for money are doing it wrong.
Yeah, man. By this many episodes, if you were Marshall, you'd have already replaced me with a Pro Tour winner.
You'd have replaced me with a Pro Tour winner.
Hi, I'm Brian, and then like, hello, I'm Paulo Vitor and welcome to the Not So Casual Try Hard podcast.
My name is Javier Dominguez.
Exactly. There we go. There we go. We could at least get like Expiring Spike or something. Yeah, we figured out how to get like an almost Pro Tour champion or someone who aspires to be that.
Hey, we got a Brad.
We got a Brad, yeah. Yeah,
thanks, Brad. You're awesome.
We got a celebrity of the popper, the PDH community.
It's true.
There we go. We need to be a celebrity of a community. We're a minor celebrity in hiding in the Myrtle Beach Magic community.
Yeah, the one that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. We come out and we remember the good old days when we knew your names. Who are you, new guy?
Yeah. I don't recognize any of you.
Exactly. You're all babies. What's going on? Why are all your decks so big? Oh, you only play Commander.
Why are you all sitting next to each other like that? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
When are they going to put pairings up?
Yeah. Is this a two-headed giant game? Please, can we stop?
Been waiting around for pairings for 2 hours. When's that going to start?
Exactly. There's an app on your phone, old man. We don't do paper pairings anymore. What? What?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internet.